Live from Lincoln and broadcasting across the state of Nebraska, it's the Average Joe Sports Show. This is the place for Husker sports with the biggest names, the best interviews, and all the inside scoops.
I got a front row seat with a big tub of buttered popcorn and a greasy half-live chicken leg.
Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to it. Friday edition is here of the Average Joe Sports Show. Elijah Herbel, Justice Rhody, Chris Schmidt. Hope you're doing all right. Big weekend of basketball, plenty to get into with spring football and, Nebraska baseball, a chance to, do more than change the narrative, inject some hope back into the rest of the season. Great to have you in, and welcome to join us today on the Average Joe Sports Show radio network. Can dial up at 489-1240, 489-1240, or 800-825-5865. Can always watch the show 7 days a week on YouTube. Like and subscribe there when you search Average Joe Sports Show. On Twitter as well, AJ Sports Radio. We'll get our starting five shout-outs. We'll hear from Brian Christopherson here in about 15 minutes in hour two. The Pride of Fairbury, Professor Bill Doleman with us at 5. Jacob Padilla back with Clausborne as he picks the second half of the Sweet 16. Going to confess, did not make it till the end of the Duke-Arizona game. I suck. I'm sorry, but that was a good ball game, and you know what? Some of the squads keep on keeping on. I'm feeling good about Texas Tech. They proved me right. More so of a pig suey meltdown. How we doing? Elijah, Justice, what's a good word, fellas?
Listen, that basketball slate last night, especially late, was just incredible. Duke, Arizona was a great game. Arkansas, Texas Tech was a great game. The mood is high. The weather is nice finally. The wind's blowing a little bit to help cool it down.
48 hours.
And vibes are high for the next 48 hours.
See, I had a lovely opening day. Got to watch basketball. The multi-screen set up in the garage. It was great. I think the total tally ended 81 hot dogs consumed among the group. And
Dude.
I think it was 88 beers consumed, somewhere in there throughout
That is run pass balance.
Yeah, no, it's
That's what I'm talking about right
yeah,
there.
we're shooting for 50-50. If you had a dog, you had a beer, it was easy. So
that's what I'm saying.
That was a great way to spend opening day with some buddies. The baseball was fine yesterday. The basketball was solid last night. We're on to Friday, and we're on to the weekend here shortly. It's Oregon State weekend now with baseball.
And my Cards won, so there's no bad mood.
Can I ask the question? We're going back to the headline of nearly 90 beers and over 80 hot dogs. How many did Elijah Herbel take down?
Hot dogs or beers?
Both.
I was a little bit negative in my ratio. I believe it was 6 beers, 7 hot dogs, I believe is what was taken down by Elijah Herbel. So feeling better than I thought I would today. Less because of the beers, more because of the hot dogs. I was worried that those would be a gut bomb today, but I've been fine.
I'm used to 6 beers a night. I mean, I'm used to a 6-pack. That doesn't faze me.
Well, no, I've been doing the Saturday morning edition for years and years now. You learn to push through. So, and I think the bread was soaking up most of the beer. So the breadiness of the hot dogs was the difficult part of last night. It was well worth it. Woke up feeling great, been feeling great all day today, and ready to rock and roll and do a weekend. So
you almost did a 9-inning challenge by yourself.
I got over there probably around 7:30 and went till about 11:30. So this was over the course of 4 hours. So we're talking a 2-dog an hour pace. That's nothing spectacular.
I mean, but still, like, pace of play, like you said, has kind of ruined the 9-inning challenge. You gotta be an animal.
That's what
get that done.
Yeah, 9 beers, 9 hot dogs. Nowadays, that's in like 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's the pace.
You're gonna be feeling it.
It's the pace. Give me a 14-inning baseball game to do a 9 beer, 9 dog challenge. I can get it done easy.
Count.
It's the time constraints.
So what kind of dogs did we do?
Oh, Fairbury brand.
Good.
We're going red dogs. We're going on the grill.
Okay.
A grilled dog is better for baseball.
Sure.
It wasn't the, what do you call
Steamed.
them? the ones that are like in the like the hot water in New York, like.
Yeah, no, you grill the dog, and then you put it in the bun, and then you wrap the bun in foil, and you put it in a crock pot so the bread gets steamed.
Yes, and we did not have the steamed buns, which made the bread a bit of a slog through that challenge last night. But it's very simple: 2 lines of mustard, 1 line of ketchup. We unfortunately didn't have any onions, relish, or nacho cheese, but if we did, that would have been going on the dogs. I can make it with two lines of mustard, 1 line of ketchup, perfect proportions. They went down pretty easy.
Mustard and relish for me. Why ruin a $50 buzz on a 50-cent hot dog?
Well, we had
Question of the day right there.
We had the keg rocking last night, and it was supposed to be an 8-gallon keg, which is, don't get me wrong, a lot. We had it reserved. The place that we went to, which I won't name any names, sold that 8-gallon keg to somebody else. Like, sorry guys, all we have left is 16-gallon kegs. And we went, okay. And we got a little bit of a discount. They also gave us like an extension for as long as we want. Cause I think we maybe made it through half, like 7-8 gallons, which is a good number. Don't get me wrong.
Where's this keg at?
It's just sitting in the garage still. It's still on ice. So I'm gonna have to go back over there this weekend and go through another 90-something beers.
Finish the job.
We will get the Average Joe volunteer force shortly. RSVP, free beer at Elijah's Buddies. There's going to be a line of folks showing up. And hey, is the garage door open yet?
If you bang on the door outside.
I knock and my dogs go bat bleep downstairs. Sorry, I was trying to do a little radio theater. Let's dive into some spring football thoughts. And we'll get our starting 5 shout-outs going. Also, Troy Dannen last night on the Husker Network. Thoughts on the Crown. Thoughts on Fred Hoiberg's finish. But some encouraging words with Athletic Director Dannen. Can find us, again, the Average Joe Sports Show YouTube, 7 days a week. On Twitter, AJ Sports Radio. Send an email in if you want as well. Eventually, we'll start doing mailbags. The AJ Sports Show, that's 2 S's, at gmail.com. Find Elijah on Twitter at Herbel Essence, at Justice Rhody for Justice, at Schmidt_radio for me. Starting 5, Duck back-to-back. Well played, sir. Uncle Larry is in. Arlo is here. The other day, check it in. Kobe, good to have you. Ryan is in. First time seeing Ryan. Ryan, appreciate you, dude, from Virginia. Tuck, 86 degrees outside and snow in the forecast next week. Tuck, I hope it goes away. NASCAR Eric is in, says happy Friday, fellas. Let's just hope baseball isn't a complete bloodbath. Steve is here. Steve, good to have you. Anonymous asking the question, why can't Doleman ever interview Clausborne? Doleman's doing supernovas tonight. So next week, we'll just have Doleman stick for the forecast. All right? We'll dispel this vicious rumor that Finkel is Einhorn, Einhorn is Finkel, Doleman is Clausborne, Clausborne is Doleman. No.
Have you guys seen, speaking of Clausborne, have you guys seen the bracket challenge recently? The Average Joe Sports Show bracket challenge. Clausborne is rising in the ranks. He's tied for 3rd with Iowa Russ.
Really?
Yeah. So we got it's K-Mac and Kramer up in first place there on 670 points. Iowa Russ in Clausborne, along with Michael Anderson, Freeze, and T. Houseman, all on 660. They're in the 98.6th percentile of America.
Where am I?
Let me scroll for a bit here.
Yeah.
You have to fill some time.
Yeah, I will get back to the starting 5 shout-outs.
Schmidt, you are in 55th place.
That's better. I was near 106 last weekend.
Compared to America, you're in the 60th percentile. So you're better than 60% of America.
Sweet. Where are you?
65th. I am in the 51st percentile. Perfectly balanced.
Justice.
I'm 23rd. We're
Look at you. All right. Kobe says that's a lot of hot dogs. Back to the beer and dog discussion. I love it. I like it.
It was a team performance to make it through all 82 of those dogs that we made it through last night. The team banded together. I walked in, I saw the hot dog packages and the buns, and I went, I don't think we're getting through all those. We damn near got through all of them.
But how many dogs do they put into Williams, Bonaire, and Keona Davis? Have you seen how big they've gotten those guys? You talk about spring football. They're putting some pounds on some of these guys. It's impressive.
I'm not sure hot dogs and beer.
Dogs.
I'm not sure hot dogs and beer are the preferred weight gaining.
That might have been the Devaney method. That is not the Matt Rule method with the chefs and performance and nutrition and that investment.
The Devaney method, beers and glizzies.
Nothing but porterhouse and asparagus, fellas. Here we go.
Son, we need to put some weight on you. Meet me at the TAM.
We got a 15-pack of Fairberries in the fridge. Get to work, son.
Do it now. I mean, God love him, but I mean, Boyd Epley had to talk the guy into starting the weight training program that turned out to be the difference maker.
Well, there was a thought way back in the day. I think we've talked about this before, that you'd get all muscle bound and you'd lose all flexibility and you wouldn't be a good football player if you were lifting, which kind of a wild thought to have back in hindsight. That was the prevailing opinion back then, and Boyd Epley came in and turned everything in football on its head.
QB1 Ace is here. Good to have you, QB1 Ace. Appreciate it. More comments from you in the stream. Says we're average. Thank you, Tuck. With the bracket challenge. A little bit more on Nebraska football yesterday and Dana Holgorsen, and we'll hear more from the defense this coming Tuesday with Coach Butler. But you know, the topic of reshaping the offense, and Justice, if you were to pull up Dana's quotes, and I think it's the last cut 14 we didn't get to yesterday. It's the final part of the run game. And I like the comparison, beers and dogs, your balanced nutrition for an Elijah opening day party, your run pass ratio. I like kind of pairing those things together. But in all seriousness, Dana's stamp on this offense, right? I think he talked about some tweaks and taken a long assessment, and that's what he did at the first of the year. And, you know, they need to figure out a few more things, what they've got on the offensive line, what they've got in the receiver room, what they went out and bought, which is fine. It's what college football is today. And then, you know, your RB2, do you have a guy? We think Emmett can be a workhorse. I believe that. But in the Big Ten, you need multiple workhorses for that run game to be successful. So when we talk about Dana's stamp, I think the stamp and what you're going to have after spring football is going to be an offense that is going to be able to be good / complementary in any situation. And that isn't 83 scoring explosion. That's not Tommy and Lawrence, but I think in their own way, they can be pretty good, and good in reference to what they need to be. The bottom line is they've needed to be a lot better post Politi on offense. Okay. Can say some things about Tim Beck, but Tim Beck's offense has scored points. Tim Beck's offense has had guys. Okay. You've been, you know, peeing minimal drops for a lot of years with some talent, but not enough. You've not been complimentary. You've had defenses that, to Brandon Vogel's credit and work, you score more than 13 points, you're going to beat Nebraska. That's not acceptable. And Dana's stamp will be a complimentary to good offense. He's going to be working a lot. He's going to be working a lot with the offensive line, at least gearing and gauging Elijah, what they can do. And then he'll probably figure out, you know, a handful of plays to attach to what the offensive line's good at. He gets it. As much as he's an air raid guy and as much as he's had quarterbacks throw for 1 billion yards or had wideouts go off, He is adaptable, and that's a true mark of a really good coach.
And I don't want to set the bar too low here, but like think of Indiana last year, where it's kind of the vibe I got from Danny yesterday was pick your poison. You want to come up, load up, stop the run, we'll beat you over the top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want to drop 7 guys out of the box, keep a light box, or drop 7 guys out of the box, go heavy on coverage, only put 4 guys up in the box. Like, okay, we'll run the ball down your throat. Pick your poison. That's kind of the thought I had with Indiana last year.
To do it
with their RPO action was like, you know what? You're going to load up and stop the run. And guess what? RPO, we're going on the slant route. We're going 15 yards. But on the flip side of that, if your linebackers are dropping out trying to defend that RPO, we're just going to run the ball for 5-6 yards a pop and take it. So that's kind of the vibe I get. Maybe not the best, loftiest example. I don't think Nebraska's offense looks at all like Indiana, but that's why I think kind of changed the game for them offensively last year. Not a dominant offensive line by any means. Fine pieces everywhere, but they made the defense pick their poison. They took advantage whenever the defense did pick.
Brett emails into the Average Joe Sports Show, the AJ Sports Show, and calling out the effort of hot dogs and beers. Pansy. I could have done 20 beers and 10 dogs.
I had work today. That's my excuse.
I had to work. All right. Brian Christopherson will get his dog and beer intake next.
What was my first impression when I walked in? Wow.
It makes me feel like I matter. They've just done everything in their power to make me feel welcome and cared for.
I feel like I can go forward because now I'm in good health.
She wasn't looking at her watch. She wasn't rushing things. She took the time to understand what I was going through.
Move up to a better kind of primary care in Lincoln. Visit archwellhealth.com or call 402-831-3653 to join now during Medicare open enrollment.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, Vacation You burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist, because Vacation You doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
KFOR. We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
The Average Joe Sports Show, and Don't forget the weekend edition tomorrow, 7:45-ish on YouTube. Sunday Live, we'll have Mark Manning joining us on the YouTube show. Elijah Herbel, Justice Rhody, Chris Schmidt here on the Average Joe Sports Show. We welcome in Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 Sports. BC, did you say thanks but no thanks to some golf because of the win today?
No, I didn't go golfing. Actually, haven't this week. I was shooting in the low 80s though my first 2 times out, so that's really good for me. That's not like brag. That's like would be a bad day for some people, but that's bragging for me.
Well, that means it's probably a good time to stop with the summer of golf. Stop while you're ahead, right?
Yeah, just pull the old George Costanza, say I'm out of here. I don't think I can do that. I think I need to play until I shoot 105 here soon, and then threaten to throw my clubs and walk away. So that's usually my method for the year.
BC, we have been plotting to go. We will get that done, and after playing 18 with me, you'll be like, I'm a damn good golfer. I mean, you're gonna feel real good about yourself, and it might be a one and done outing with between the two of us, but we'll get that handled. I need your opinion on Elijah and his sick little buddies last night on opening day.
Sick in a good way?
Yes, sick in a good way. You committed almost 100 hot dogs and a 16-gallon keg of beer. They knocked out half the keg and almost all of the hot dogs. How many people, Elijah?
10. We had an 11th show up late, but they only had 1 beer, 1 dog, so they don't really count to the numbers. So
no, they don't.
10/11. 10.5, sure.
So 10.5, and you knocked down 50 dogs, and how many beers?
It was 82 hot dogs and 87 beers, which were in the red solo cups from the keg, so somewhere between 12 and 16 ounces per beer. I had personally 7 hot dogs and 6 beers during the baseball action.
How's it going? What's the bathroom situation there? Is it far away from the mic? Like, what's the deal?
I was worried today. It has been smooth sailing on a Friday. I'm not sure if it's
knock on wood.
I'm not sure if it's coming later or what's going on. I've been feeling great today.
All right. Sorry for that untoward talk. That was just the first thought that came to my mind if I had 5 dogs. But yeah, that's an accomplishment. I'm not going to knock that. How old are you?
25.
Okay. Yeah. 5 more years of that stuff.
It'll
5
catch
more
up.
years, and then yeah, no. Then 5 more years, you're like, all right, I'm not on that trip. I think that's how it goes.
I just hope my doctor is not listening to this segment right now.
Uncle BC with some words of wisdom. We likened the beer and dog ratio to the run pass ratio of Dana's offense. Is the run game going to be the beer or the dog?
Oh, I think, man, that's a good question. I think there's going to be about equal consumption of both when it's all said and done. You know, he stressed, like, yeah, we want to be that group that's physical, that can be a 4-minute offense. And then at the same time, he said, you know, like Thursday's focus was 2-minute drill and 4 wides. And they know that they've got to be that unit. I think especially with weapons like Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter and, you know, Jacory and those guys who have joined the operation, you sort of expect those playmakers to get stuff done for you. So it's going to be hard to resist them, I think. But I think he knows that you need that physical staple. I think he knows that's part of Matt Rule's teams for the most part. And, you know, he's made an effort, I think, to make it known, because I do think there's this confusion that, hey, I'm not the air raid OC anymore. I've sort of changed my thinking about some things over time too. And part of that came with being a head coach, understanding the other side of the ball and how you have to complement them. And you're always thinking about that. And so, it's a really good question. I think they'll have a pretty good balance when it's all said and done. And I do think sometimes those numbers can be a little tough to read because, like, Emmett Johnson had 24 catches the last 4 games. Those go down as, you know, passing game stats, and that's fine. But really some of that's like an extension of the run game. You're just finding it as like a simple play in space, easy toss and catch, and it gets you easy yards. So if that's the type of stuff that's a part of the passing game, people will more than take that.
It's Brian Christopherson with us here. And BC, as I sit here and think, I think the passing game has got to be beers and the running game's got to be the hot dogs. That's kind of where I'm thinking here. But to actually make this about football, you talk about those plays that are extension of the running game. The screenplays last year were just a huge issue for Nebraska all year long. Do you think that's something that Dan Holgorsen will want to return to? We hear about the mesh concepts all the time. We talk about keeping a quarterback in rhythm. You didn't see as many screenplays down the stretch of last season. Based on your feel for Dana, is the screen game, a specifically wide receiver screen, is that going to be a continued part of the offense? Because there's been those type of plays for Nebraska in recent years where it's the swing play that everybody hated or the fly sweep that everybody hated. Last year it was the screen play. Does he go back to that, or does that just get retired a bit and you do your screen game a little differently, maybe with running backs out of the backfield as you alluded to?
Maybe the latter. I don't think it maybe gets totally eliminated, but if you look at what they did the last 4 games, it didn't feel like it was near as prevalent. And, he challenged those receivers right away when he got here too. Like, you've got to be more physical as perimeter blockers. I mean, if you're going to run those type of plays within your offense, those guys have to be maulers on the outside. They got to be ready to go to battle for you. Otherwise, a play that should be 5 or 6 yards is -3 yards, and you're playing a tough game behind the sticks then. So, I don't know. That's a good question because maybe, he's got his wide receivers coach Takeel Shorts working with those guys over there. And there might be a thought, like Dane Key was a pretty good blocker at Kentucky, actually, by the numbers. And some of those other guys, I think, are proud of that. So maybe they feel like they do have the bodies where they can run some of that more effectively and just block better on the perimeter. I don't know what the answer is exactly, but I do think it's a good question you bring up because it did seem like he sort of shifted in another direction, and it was more about getting those backs involved in different ways.
Brian Christopherson joining us here on the Average Joe Sports Show. Find BC on Twitter at Huskers247 BC. Catch the Hypecast, great YouTube content with Bruntsy and BC and Shafe, the Husker 24/7 crew. I'm interested, what do you believe the stamp of a Dana Holgorsen offense is?
I think when you look at his offenses over the years, it's not like it has to be like where everybody always gets it. Is it a pass offense, a run offense? I think I've always felt like it's a controlled offense. Like they have, they're the type of plays that are high percentage in a lot of ways. Like I think he finds situations and matchups where he figures like this is going to be good for the completion rate. Yes, but it's also like going to play to 4 to 6 yards most of the time. Like I just feel like if you look at his offenses over the years, they've been very effective for the most part at sort of staying ahead of the chains. And it doesn't, whether that's running the ball, if it's a day where you feel like you can hand it to your top back 25 times and he's spinning out 4 or 5 yards, I think he's shown that he has a willingness to do that in his career. But if there's other ways to get those yards in the passing game, he's not afraid to do that either. So I don't know how to explain it other than I've always felt like there's just a good control to it, like staying ahead of the sticks and being efficient, and he mentioned yards per play at the very end. And like, I think if you go through his track record, he's done pretty well with that.
Yeah, BC, when you look at what this offense was last year compared to now, what Dana Holgorsen could potentially bring, there's this term that Matt LaFleur uses all the time. It's ruthless effectiveness, ruthless efficiency, basically, where the offense can now be the aggressor, right? It felt at times where last year this offense wasn't an aggressor, wasn't trying to push the envelope, wasn't trying to push for yardage and get downfield and make explosive plays. Do you believe that Dana Holgorsen and the way that he works his offense and now the new personnel they brought in the portal can be that difference maker and, capitalizing on ruthless efficiency and being an aggressor?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I do think they have they just have more weapons at receiver on paper. We've said that before, though. That has to be proven. We've gone in off seasons where we've talked out wide out corps before and thought, yeah, they're going to have 6 to 8 guys we feel really good about, and then by November there's like 2 or 3, and so they got to go do it. But I think we've all said around here, Dana's pretty much a straight shooter, and he said it's different with those wide receivers this year. That was his quote the other day, and he repeated that. He's like, it's different. And I think if you listen closely to him, he really does feel, and I think Raiola got off the same sentiment, that with Key and Hunter and Gilmore, these guys are who they thought they were. Like they've come to work. And Dane Key, I know, did some spring break work with Raiola down in Georgia, and feels like they've got a really good connection. So, I mean, long answer to your question, but I think Hartley Gilmore was a kid who I think can stretch the field. Is he going to be able to do that in his first year at Nebraska? I don't know, but he gives you another option. And Ja'Cory, after a year of growth in college football, you would hope can do some of that too. And then when you've got a back like Emmett, if he's as effective as he was at the end of last year with that short passing game, and your tight ends can chew up some of that intermediate part of the field, at some point you're going to have that opening to take your shots. And they thought they were going to be that offense last year, but just didn't materialize. And I think a couple of the receivers maybe didn't quite get open as much as and create space like they thought they would be able to. So we'll see if this group's different.
Brian Christopherson's with us, Husker 24/7 Sports. BC, we're up against a quick timeout. I need a little overtime, just a couple of minutes on the other side. A couple of recruiting questions, if that's all right. You have 2 more minutes for us?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, hang tight. Brian Christopherson going to give us a little overtime. We'll hear from Troy Dannen, his take on Husker hoops as they are not pouring Crown, but headed to the Crown for Monday. But his thought on the way the season ended for Nebraska basketball, Husker baseball on the docket, and a little bit more spring ball thoughts as we are still talking a little bit here about that stamp of Dana on offense. And the good news is we think it's going to be pretty decent. More with BC on the way.
This is the good stuff. Listen in your HD radio-equipped vehicle at FM 106.3 HD3. Listen to this. Keeping Nebraska connected everywhere with over 100,000 watts of HD power.
Your testosterone test is free during March Madness at Limitless Mail. That's a $500 value, March only. You'll receive a complete blood panel with individual consult. Compliments of Limitless Mail. Learn your testosterone levels and receive a personalized health plan free. If you want more strength, more energy, more drive, find out if you have low T. Schedule online today at limitlessmail.com. March Madness ends March 31st.
Trust is a foundation of any strong relationship. It's earned every day.
At 1011, it's the way we cover the community we call home.
Working hard to fact check, verify, and get the story right.
It means alerting you first to severe weather and preparing for what's ahead.
It's telling the stories that bring us together and make us proud to be Nebraskan.
Trust Cole Miller, Madison Pitch, Chief Meteorologist Ken Shumick, and Sports Director Kevin Suits. The most watched, the most trusted. That's 1011.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit
Smart insight into today's issues. Guy Benson
for the
on FM 101.5, 1240 AM,
I learned about atrial
KFOR.
fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free? TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, and student loan interest. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free.
KFOR is now available in high-definition stereo.
This is the good stuff.
Listen in your HD radio-equipped vehicle at FM 106.3 HD3.
Listen to this.
Keeping Nebraska connected
Everywhere.
with over 100,000 watts.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Offensive outlook in the stream, Average Joe Sports Show YouTube channel, Average Joe Sports Show Radio Network. Brian Christopherson giving us some overtime. And BC, thank you much. We'll get you in and out. Your take on Trey Taylor. I know he was in Lincoln. Looks like he's a pretty talented quarterback. Lake Hills, Illinois, top 12 quarterback in the nation for 2027. What are your thoughts on his connection / impression with Nebraska? What do you hear? And I saw Trey's posting a trip to the airport. It sounds like he had a pretty good time in Lincoln.
Yeah, I think when those guys come into town, especially this time of year, they get full attention on them. And I think whenever they can see Nebraska run a practice and just see how they operate and, I do think Nebraska is probably even more physical in the spring than some programs are. And so I think that leaves an impression. And so that's a big deal. Obviously, whenever you get a guy into town and they can see the facilities, it's going to match up with about anybody. But yeah, he's a QB that has like LSU, Michigan, A&M, they're on his short list. So it's a who's who crew that's after him. And, in his case, he's got a couple of years to decide. So he's looking at it like, okay, Dylan Ryle's there now, but I could come in and maybe be the next guy. That's how a quarterback in his class is going to view it. So we've been having different conversations sort of with the quarterbacks in the last 2 cycles or even the next cycle, of course, with Dylan's brother. Because it's like, how do you get quarterbacks in here if they already know who QB1 is for like the next 3 years? But we're starting actually to work towards those cycles now with quarterbacks where they'll look at it and be like, okay, at that point, hopefully he set the groundwork, he's on to the pros, and then I can take over. So that's kind of an exciting part, I guess, of talking about quarterback recruits when you start getting to like 27 and beyond. We're getting to that point, which also means I'm just getting older.
Oh, amen. My kid graduates here in 2 months, allegedly. And, it's kids that are 2 years below him are now on campus. Jake Hildebrand and Rex Waterman, 2 offensive tackles that are on Nebraska's radar. That's kind of a big spot, isn't it, for Nebraska? They've been in the hunt for that stud offensive tackle on the recruiting trail, but they have yet to reel one in.
Yeah, and I think what high school O-linemen have to like to hear from Matt Rule is that dedication to development, especially in the trenches, where I do think a lot of linemen understand, though, of course, everybody wants to play right away, that I get it. Like, to play in the Big Ten, it might take until my second or third year, probably even, until my body and everything is developed where I can just go in there and mash in October and November against those type of guys. And Rule, we hear it all the time. He constantly stresses, like patience with those guys, like with like Grant Bricks and Preston Tamua and some of these guys that they think are going to be good players. It just takes a little time. But I think those recruits, when they visit, they can see good examples of guys within the program who like their position coach a lot. I mean, Donnie's just really respected by his guys. And also, it feels like there's a group of players in that room that are patient and could probably talk to recruits from a peer angle about how I am getting better and my time is coming. And then there's like the Rocco Spindler you have to tell guys like, hey, I didn't play my first 2 years at Notre Dame hardly at all. And you know, I've built myself up and had a nice college career. So it's good that they're on those type of guys. They've recruited the O-line pretty well. Now it's just about developing them and convincing those guys that you mentioned, like Waterman and them, like, hey, we can do the same to you.
Brian Christopherson with us here. And Brian, before we get you out, quick thought on Husker baseball. They're taking on a top 10 team in Oregon State this weekend. They need more pitching. They need more hitting. Do they need torrential downpours to hit Lincoln? What do you forecast this weekend?
Yeah, I don't want to wish the downpours for the sake of the rest of us. But it does feel a little bleak right now. You got to hope some guys that you just expected like a couple months ago were going to be hitting at a higher clip and playing a little bit of baseball to find it now. And, just have some swings and some things that elevate their confidence. They've got to do the little things a lot better. You know, I always say this because it's not a cop-out. My coworker, Bruns, does a great job with it, and he's in on, like, every pitch with those guys. And I just feel like, you know, from what I'm picking up from the outside looking in, I mean, it's been not the start that was expected, and so you got to really push back against sort of those negative thoughts and the feeling like this season is headed a certain way, and have those guys in your clubhouse who can lead the way and say, let's turn around this weekend. Like, if you wanted to make a statement to this fan base and everybody, like, this thing's not done, let's go, it would be going toe-to-toe with Oregon State, you know? So that's always, I guess, how you got to look at it as a competitor. Everyone on the outside is going to take their shots at you when you're down. That's what goes with it. But you got to say, this is an opportunity right now, this weekend, to get this thing changed. And so hopefully we see some of that.
BC, enjoy your weekend, bud. Appreciate the OT, and always thank you for coming on and making time, man.
Yeah, it's always great to be on with you guys. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend.
You too. There he is, Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 Sports, here on the Friday edition of the Average Joe Sports Show, the hot dog and beer edition, the balanced diet edition of the Average Joe Sports Show. Well, I mean, you got to title it, don't we? I mean, we had Pro Day Monday or Pro Day Tuesday. What was Wednesday? Bowling Aftermath Wednesday. Dana Thursday. And it's hot dog and beer Friday. And it's going to be hungover. It's going to be hungover Saturday.
I feel like after a long winter, a long off season, I feel like the beer and hot dogs, rather than giving me a hangover and a tummy ache as they usually would, like, I think just because it was opening day, I think it gave me superpowers on a Friday, I think is what happened. It went the opposite way. My body hasn't experienced that kind of trauma in a long time. And it became a positive experience. This was not me falling asleep on my couch, waking up in cold sweats during the Big Ten tournament whenever I tried the 999 challenge at my house. It wasn't that. This was magical.
No, now you got jet propulsion. That's
that was hilarious. That was good. I have superpowers now. We'll have to squeeze in athletic director Dannen next segment, but what he had to say about Fred. Jacob Padilla going to be with us from Hurrdat Sports. Get Jacob's take on the Sweet 16 and Nebraska's portal prospects. I think the whole world is after our friends from UNO. The two Mav kids that are off to the portal. They're going to get paid, and they've got a lot of choices. Got a lot of choices to go play college basketball. But like and subscribe, invited to do so with the Average Joe Sports Show on YouTube. Take us with On Demand, Your Demand, as well as the YouTube channel. Check that out and subscribe there tomorrow. Back at it at 7:45, and then Sunday live 10:30. Reminding you that we'll have a Mark Manning sighting. Coach Manning going to be with us. We'll wind down hour one here, Friday edition with the Average Joe Sports Show.
I am struggling to find something fun for the kids this summer. Any suggestions?
Yes, you have to check out Bright Light's Summer Learning Adventures.
Really? Tell me more.
My kids love the variety of topics. They're perfect for grades K through 8. Bright Light's half-day and full-day camps fit our schedule. Plus, they offer before care and lunch care.
Amazing. How do I sign up?
Go to brightlights.org to see the list of camps and to register.
Bright Lights Summer Learning Adventures, where summer fun and learning shine. Visit brightlights.org to see the list of camps and register today.
They say no two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app with over 16 million subscriptions sold? Well, we thought of you. All of you. Take Sierra. She's an artist and absolutely a visual learner. She's doing a deep dive into our Babbel wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Malcolm is very much a type A, say it to my face type of learner. So he checks with Babbel's speech recognition to make sure that accent.
Sur le point.
Keith is sweet. He's a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
Wherever you are, however you learn, Babbel is the best choice to break any language barrier. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Who's gotten this text? Please pick up milk and bread on your way home. Milk is easy. Scammer 2%, but with so many choices, the bread aisle can be a bit much. Thankfully, I'm friends with Loafy. He gave me a tip that makes finding the perfect loaf as simple as he is. For the only bread that's baked locally and delivered fresh daily, just look for the Country Hearth logo on the package. And not only is it the best, dozens of Country Hearth products now have also lower prices. So the next time you're lost in the bread aisle, take it from Loafy and look for Country Hearth.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty to protect, to serve, to help. When you call 911, first responders show up now. Let's show up for the people who show up for us.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
The beer and dog version of the Average Joe Sports Show. Elijah Herbel, Justice Rhody, Pride of Fairbury. Speaking of, Bill Doleman, 10 minutes away. Jacob Padilla, Clausborne with the Friday forecast. Our Sweet 16 selections, the other half before we get on to the Elite Eight. Let's hear from Troy Dannen, Nebraska's athletic director, as he was on with the Husker Sports Network, Sports Nightly, last night, and Nebraska basketball. They were a bubble team for a lot of the season, and you had Dannen's comments on just how the season ended and given his backing to Nebraska's head basketball coach, Fred Hoiberg.
No, and the conversations we have, it's funny, you get on social media, it's like, oh, fire everybody. And the reality is when things don't go well, you have to be introspective and ask yourself why. And my response to Fred is, tell me what you need me to do. How can I help you? Here are the things I see, but tell me how I can help you. And the job of the athletic director or anybody in the department is to find a way to help the coach get in the position once the coach has had an introspection time, right, to look and say, what happened, why? And then we can all work together to get to a better position next year. And that's true. That's true with Matt coming off a bowl win. That's true with Fred coming off some losses and not making the Big Ten tournament. It is the way things work in reality. We can all be emotional, but when you're working here, when you're in the when you're Fred Hoiberg or when you're in my chair, you can't act emotionally. You've got to be rational, and you got to figure out, okay, let's figure out what do we need to do to get to the place we want to get. And Fred's been great at that with me, and Amy and I are going to have those conversations as well. What else do we need to do? It's not just how much revenue share money there is, but it's, are we putting the coaches in a position to succeed or not?
Good take by Troy Dannen, and measured, mature, not a crazy boss. That's big. That's good.
And you got to assume, if you read in between the lines there, most of that is coming down to NIL resources. Is that how we're reading in between the lines with putting coaches in a position to succeed in 2025 with the reality of college sports right now? That seems to me like that would be, from the outside looking in, the biggest factor on a coach's ability to find success is, do they have the money they need to put together a roster? Is that how
are you, and as a coach and as a talent evaluator, are you doing that? Are you evaluating the talent? Are you asking your talent to do things they're not capable of doing? We talk roles, and Justice, I know you want to jump in. You just had guys not perform.
You had guys not perform, and I also think, like, in this modern era where, it's so easy for people to jump online and really jump down the throat of a coach or of the players who maybe are playing a role that they're not fit to play. I think getting a vote of confidence from your athletic director and saying, hey, how can I best serve you? And being a true servant leader in the athletic director position is massive for any modern college program. And you're seeing that now. It's like, yes, NIL and the allotment of resources is important, but so is vertical alignment and having that vote of confidence from the top down.
It's big, and that's what you want in your boss, just really good communication, and then work together to fix it. So a year from now, you're talking about Nebraska back in the tournament. All right, Bill Doleman going to be with us. He's getting ready for the Supernovas. Is hour 2 on the way with the Average Joe Sports Show.
Wow. It makes me feel like I matter. They've just done everything in their power to make me feel welcome and cared for.
I feel like I can go forward because now I'm in good health.
She wasn't looking at her watch. She wasn't rushing things. She took the time to understand what I was going through.
Move up to a better kind of primary care in Lincoln. Visit archwellhealth.com or call 402-831-3653 to join now during Medicare open enrollment.
Stop ignoring that check engine light or driving around knowing your vehicle is past due for an oil change. 6-to-6 Auto Service at 2405 P Street wants to help you get the auto services your vehicle needs now by offering a $50 discount on your next service. Schedule your appointment online today at 6to6autoservice.com. Get peace of mind and a $50 discount from your local professional team at 6-to-6 Auto Service. Ask about your discount now for a limited time at 6-to-6 Auto Service.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio.
Lincoln's local news, the day's newsmakers and weather station. FM 101.5,
1240
AM, 1240 AM, KFOR, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. A couple of court victories for the Trump administration. A federal appeals court lifted a lower court order that blocked Elon Musk's government efficiency office from making further cuts to USAID. The former the foreign aid provider. Another Washington-based federal appeals court says the president can move forward with dismissals of 2 of President Biden's appointees to key federal boards. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
The statutes say a president can only fire members of the National Labor Relations Board and the Merit Systems Protection Board for certain specific reasons. But Trump-appointed appeals court judge Justin Walker says he feels the administration is likely to succeed in arguing that those laws are unconstitutional. Judge Karen Henderson, a George H.W. Bush appointee, wasn't willing to go that far, but she said she did agree the lower court rulings to reinstate the 2 Biden nominees on the board should be put on pause. Obama-appointed Judge Patricia Millett wrote a lengthy dissent.
Tech stocks led a downturn on Wall Street for the major indexes this after negative economic reports. One from the Commerce Department showing consumer spending rising less than expected. Another report the Federal Reserve pays attention to showing inflation rose more than expected, and more talk about tariff wars. Aboard Air Force One, President Trump was asked if he'd be open to making deals with nations looking to avoid his tariffs.
We've been taken advantage of for 40 years, maybe more. And it's just not going to happen anymore. But yeah, I'm certainly open to that. If we can do something where we get something for it.
Echoing the U.S. president that their phone call today was positive and productive, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney at the Port of Montreal.
Canada is strong, but we're even stronger when we are united. And our response to these latest tariffs is to fight, to protect, and to build.
Canadian officials hinting about responding with their own tariffs against the U.S. You're listening to ABC News.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
A bust on the interstate involving credit card skimmers. Good afternoon. I'm Elijah Herbel, KFOR News. A vehicle stopped for driving too close on Interstate 80 near the Lincoln Airport on Thursday afternoon led to the discovery of a credit card scam operation and 2 men being arrested by the Lincoln Lancaster County Criminal Interdiction Unit. Chief Deputy Sheriff Ben Houchin says deputies got probable cause and consent to search the vehicle, where they found a credit card skimming device, tools, numerous Visa Green Dot credit cards, and more than $17,000 in cash. The 2 men were arrested for unlawful possession of a skimming device.
Both individuals had immigration notifications to ICE placed on them also.
The driver was a 56-year-old man from New York, and the passenger was a 43-year-old man from Florida. Houchin says it's unclear where both men were heading, and it's unclear if they were involved in any illegal activity in Lincoln or Lancaster County. Lincoln Fire and Rescue responded to the scene of a large grass fire that erupted in a field southwest of the Nebraska State Penitentiary just off of 14th and Nebraska Parkway earlier this afternoon. Details are limited at this time, but we will have more information as it becomes available. Keep it tuned to KFOR for the latest on this developing story. Lincoln police are asking for your help in finding a white 4-door sedan that possibly has the driver's side front fender missing and rust around the wheel wells, with a man driving that apparently tried to lure a 12-year-old girl into the vehicle late Thursday afternoon. This happened along Washington Street between 35th and 37th Streets, just southeast of 33rd and A. Lieutenant Michelle Yoakum tells KFOR News the man apparently rolled down his window and tried to get the girl inside.
The 12-year-old was not familiar with the driver, ran away, and found a trusted adult to report the incident. The vehicle was last seen driving north on South 37th Street from Washington Street.
If you have any information regarding this incident, Lincoln Police urge you to call them at 402-441-6000. A windy Friday afternoon here in the capital city with a high near 80 degrees. I'm Elijah Herbel, KFOR News.
As the town thaws and cabin fever subsides, Lincoln focuses on the next season. No, the green grass and colorful excitement has nothing to do with spring in Nebraska. Here, it comes later in Memorial Stadium.
Get through the spring and summer months by talking Husker football daily at 9 with the Morning Hookup, and then at 4 with the Average Joe Sports Show. Football season is every season on Lincoln's KFOR.
For more than 100 years, Trump Memorial has served Nebraskans by creating beautiful custom monuments and markers for their loved ones. Trump Memorial now offers full-service funerals and cremations, custom memorials, and funeral services at the most reasonable prices. Save money and gain peace of mind by pre-planning your funeral and memorial needs at Trump Memorial and Funeral Services at 1600 West O Street in Lincoln.
Live from Lincoln and broadcasting across the state of Nebraska, it's the Average Joe Sports Show. This is the place for Husker sports with the biggest names, the best interviews, and all the inside scoops.
I got a front row seat with a big tub of buttered popcorn and a greasy half-live chicken leg.
Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back with you. It is hour 2 of the Average Joe Sports Show, Friday edition, the beer and dog edition, as Husker baseball going to get rocking and rolling here at Haymarket. I know the wind is gusty and red flag-ish. I don't know if that's blowing out, blowing in, or the recipe for I needed it my back for that vaunted 300-yard drive.
From what I understand, we had Bill for a second. He just left the green room. I believe it to be a crosswind that is blowing pretty directly at that right field foul pole.
Okay.
So a big night for guys going oppo or lefties potentially tonight at Haymarket Park.
Bill Doleman will be with us. We will try and dispel the vicious rumor that Bill Doleman is Clausborne. Clausborne is Doleman. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
Well, see, the more time we spend on that, the more people are going to think we're just trying to cover our tracks, and it's really not that.
No, he's trying to connect courtside at CHI because he's doing TV tonight.
Let's try dialing him up. He was having some issues hearing us, so
yeah, trying to do Supernovas volleyball tonight. Let's dive in. Shout out our friend Game Dog. He never misses an episode. We appreciate that. We were talking with Brian Christopherson a bit earlier about the old screen game. And Game Dog's like, look, not sure a screen game is going to be a relevant part of the offense anymore, as most modern defenses is a nickel-based defense, DBs, and speed on the field. To have a legit screen game, you need practice and timing. I think you have the ability to have timing. I think about Arizona State and think about all the different ways Scatteraboo got the football, right? They flipped it to him out of the backfield. They let him rumble downhill like a bowling ball between the tackles. And the quick little screen game was good. I look at the Chiefs and P. Ryan as their third down back. With Mahomes and company. Who else? Marshall Falk, Roger Craig, obviously. Those aren't really those were just check downs more say, but having a screen game, God, it is vicious to a pass rush.
It's vicious to a pass rush, and it's also forces defensive backs to do something they don't like doing, which is using their shoulder pads and hitting. That's the value.
Tackling. Yes.
Tackling. Taking on blocks from a 300-pound offensive lineman, like things they don't want to go do. Not to mention the fact that it also gets defensive backs flowing downhill, presenting the opportunity for the top to be taken off of a defense. I know we have Bill on the line here in just a moment, but that is the value. I don't think it's going to be as prevalent as it was at times last year. At least they tried to make it in the offense, but I think there is still value. That's why I asked the question with wide receiver versus running back screen game. What does Nebraska try to do? Because there's always going to be value in the screen game for those reasons. Just what does your screen game look like? You got to have those extension of the running play type plays in your offense.
It makes a ton of sense with the athletes and the agility. A guy like Barney, getting him in space. Mm-hmm. Have fun trying to tackle that one-on-one, and have fun trying to tackle that one-on-one as you're trying to get off of a block of some 6'4" dude that wants to pin you. You didn't have guys that really gave a damn about doing that part of the job description last year consistently until Dana got in their kitchen a little bit. Bill Doleman with us. Billy D, how are you? At Bill Doleman on Twitter, the OG of the Average Joe Sports Show. You got some Nova Ball tonight, man. What's up?
Yeah, first-time listener, long-time caller. Little Supernovas volleyball action tonight on Nebraska Public Media. They're taking on the Vegas Thrill, who just ended the longest losing streak in the history of the league. And the Supernovas trying to bounce back from a 3-0 sweep in their last match. They're expecting, they've set record after record, it seems like maybe, I wouldn't doubt if there's 14,000 people here tonight.
That's awesome.
Big deal. Yeah.
There's 14,000 in person to see the Novas and see you. And then there's several thousand watching, of course, on Nebraska Public Media.
Yeah, and I understand John Cook is arriving via limo. So a guy's got it made in retirement.
There will also be 15,000 people there as witnesses that Bill is not on the phone during the 5:40 segment with Clausborne. So 15,000 get phones out ready.
Do you want to address this vicious Finkel is Einhorn, Einhorn is Finkel situation that many of our friends in the YouTube stream on the Average Joe Sports Show, they swear that you're Claus?
Well, I don't really want to address it right now.
I think that impression should give you everything you need.
Yeah. Don't tip your waiter. Don't try the veal tonight. Bill, want to get into some spring football thoughts, takeaways from Dana Holgorsen yesterday. We batted around a little bit. You know, what's this reshaping look like on offense? And you know, they're analyzing and gonna come up with a answer after spring ball. But what do you look at being Dana Holgorsen's stamp on an offense for a football team historically?
Well, I think that the thing that about what he's done historically with his programs, he's always been known as an innovator, from times at Texas Tech to Houston to West Virginia. The reputation for offense has followed him wherever he's gone. They just have not had the other complementary elements to the game that are going to be a consistent winner. You know, at Texas Tech, defense may have been an afterthought. Same thing down in Houston. West Virginia, you're swimming upstream, you know, and you're trying to compete in the Big 12 from West Virginia. So I think there's always been, you know, some headwinds that he's faced wherever he's been. And now he gets to go back to being where he was at Tech and being an assistant coach, where that's what your focus is. And I think, that, again, we've talked about this before, for guys who have been in the business a long time who want to coach football, the opportunity to be an offensive or defensive coordinator or a special teams coordinator is much more attractive right now if you don't want to have to deal with all the politics of athletics in this day and age, right? It's caused Jim Larinaga and Tony Bennett to get out of college basketball. And so I think for Dana Holgorsen, this is a healthy alternative for where he is at this stage in his career. Like, all I got to do is sit here and, as he talked about, look at my computer and watch ball and figure out what we need to do and get used to the playbook again. And I think this is probably a refreshing start for him. And he said, I'm happy. I don't mind walking 12 minutes in 12 below weather. So he's got a CEO for a head football coach who's his boss, who has given him autonomy to coach his expertise on that side of the ball, to bring in the coaches that he wants to have. He is the head coach of the offense. He's got every bell, whistle, and toy you can imagine and all the resources available to him. He's got a great gig. So he ought to feel refreshed in his mid-50s that, you know what, I got it pretty good right now, and maybe this is where I need to be for a while. And once things settle down, I've proven myself at Nebraska. Now I can go be a head coach again once everybody kind of figures out what the parameters are. So I think for a guy like Dana Holgorsen, he is in a tremendous spot at this stage of his life and career.
And if you want a little bit of insight into what Dana brings to the table and like the impact that he has with all his years of experience, you look at the Nebraska football X's and O's coaches clinic when they're inviting high school coaches in. He is doing the speech with Donovan Rella on 12:30 about teaching run game fundamentals and six-man pass protections. Then at 1:30, he stays up there and does a presentation with Satterfield on the tight ends, does a presentation at 2:30 with Barthel on the running backs, does a presentation at 3:30 on mesh variations with Coach Shorts, and then at 4:30, he gets up there with Glenn Thomas to discuss tacking the defense from high to low in the passing game, meaning he will be giving presentations all day long on every single aspect of offense, which is, it's not what the defense is doing. They got individual coaches doing their thing, but Dana Holgorsen's getting up there with every single member of the offensive staff. He's doing a presentation on whatever their position group is, which speaks to the level of knowledge that he brings into this offensive coordinator position.
And again, he's not having to get in boardroom meetings with Troy Dannen. He's not having to figure out what the transfer portal situation is with Pat Stewart. He's not having to figure out all of these other things that are ancillary to being a head football coach in the college game today. You know, I mean, Matt Rule goes to work, works out, gets in a suit and tie, gets in his practice gear, gets back in a suit and tie, gets in his practice gear, probably is on a Zoom call, and has a whole lot of other stuff that's going on. I think for Dana Holgorsen, as in the short time that we have collectively gotten to know him, and I'm not talking about personally with the handshake, but just we're all observers of these characters who come up to speak to the media. You just get the sense that he's just getting all he has to do is coach football, and you're going to pay me, and Houston is going to pay me how much? I'm good with that, right? Gus Malzahn left Central Florida to go to be the offensive coordinator at Florida State. He's probably doing the exact same thing, except counting a little bit more money because there's no state income tax. So I think for Dana Holgorsen, this is just a great opportunity. You're probably going to have a blast with all of those various classes that he's teaching to the students who will be listening. So I think that's awesome. The other thing I think that people probably took away from his conversation with the media is, look, there's nobody been better in the history of Nebraska football than Bob Devaney or Milt Tenneper and Dan Young to go to the country club or to go to every Brunswick bar around the state of Nebraska or every cafe to have coffee or a Miller Lite, right? Those guys knew how to press the flesh and speak Nebraskan. I got the sense in listening to Dana Holgorsen that he'd be happy at a Brunswick or leaning up against a John Deere tractor tire with and talking with farmers in the field. It just seems the way he comes across is very, very boots, dirt on your boots kind of guy. And I think people will take to that personality.
Data's just great. You're right about the field, the ballroom, the casino. I mean, the guy just is down to earth dude. I'm just wondering with the coaches clinic, this is probably a not very nice shot, but is it going to be like the scene in Animal House when Flounder's picture goes up, when Satterfield starts talking about tight ends after Dana's done talking? The rest of the coaches in the audience going to start chucking stuff at the screen.
Well, I lived that, so I'm not sure that's probably going to be what happens. But I would think that the coaches in attendance will have rapt attention toward what Dana Holgorsen has to say, because it's probably going to be unlike what anything Nebraska, coaches have heard in the last 20 years. Now, when Tom got up to speak X's and O's, he could certainly talk to the passing game. He just went to the option because that's what was required at that stage, and so he adapted his coaching philosophy to that. And, of course, he just commanded a room because he's Tom Osborne. But I think Dana Holgorsen is going to speak the language of those coaches, and they're going to be attracted to what he has to say and to see, how he has been able to put his staff together, save for Donnie Raiola, who's got the offensive line. But, I thought it was really remarkable listening to, the way he talked about it, the start that he's getting and the relationship that he has with everybody on that staff. So, and good on Nebraska and Matt Rule. It was reiterated. They got a big head start when it came to bringing him on staff, to do that in November, to have the idea to do it and to pull it off and then to keep him here so that he was able to get end of November through December, January, and into where we are right now. Imagine all those offensive coordinators who were hired after the football season and who got to their new schools in mid-January or early February. Nebraska is way ahead of the game with Dana Holgorsen getting that head start and John Butler also already being on the staff.
Bill, in the larger picture of Nebraska football, like, is there a comparison you can make to the importance of the relationship between Dylan Raiola and Dana Holgorsen moving forward, assuming that it's not a 1-year stop here for Dana, which might be a big assumption, but just how important is that relationship going to be given the circumstances surrounding Nebraska football, what the last 10 years have been?
Well, I think that the amount of time that they're able to spend together now, again, he's not coming in February and getting him, or January, and introducing himself to Raiola and looking at the playbook and trying to understand what the verbiage is. He's got a 3-month head start on that. He has an existing relationship with Dylan. He's seen him in action. He understands how he reacts to the plays that are called. He understands Dylan's demeanor. So all of that is such a plus for Nebraska to have given that relationship time to develop before everybody else did who had a new coordinator or coach come in. Yeah, it's going to be vital. And now, the one thing that I didn't necessarily like hearing, or that I did not hear in the press conference, was so much of the attention was on Dylan and Dana. Well, what about Davila and Gramstad and TJ Lateef? You know, there's more than one quarterback in that room for Nebraska, and not everybody's going to take every snap every game because something could happen. And we know Dylan got banged up a little bit last year, right? So there has to be that chemistry and that understanding that there's more than just one quarterback in that room, and those other guys need to be ready at a moment's notice. Just ask Coach Turman in Millard.
No, I get that. I think,
but there was no talk of the other guys.
Well,
there was no.
There wasn't. I think it's understood, though. I think Dana gets it. He's got to get 2 guys ready.
Sure.
Don't you? Just the deference. All right, Dylan's our guy. We know that. Can't threaten it. So, I don't know. Bill will holler tomorrow. Have a great call tonight. Is that good?
Yeah, it should be a packed house. Should be kind of fun, and I'll be there bright and early tomorrow morning.
All right, cup of coffee and maybe a Guinness tomorrow morning with Bill. Thanks, bud.
All right. See you, boys.
That melt in your mouth, delivering faster results so you can be spontaneous again. Once you try the Limitless Male Troche, you won't go back to the little blue pill. Our troches go right to the source through your bloodstream, leading to quicker, harder results. To experience the difference for yourself and your partner, schedule a free consult with the men's health experts at limitlessmale.com.
Hi, this is Jason Ball, President and CEO of the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce. Well, election season is once again just around the corner, and this spring we'll see Lincoln's voters make important choices for the future of our community. Primary elections tend to have lower turnouts than general elections, so let's buck that trend and turn out big for the primary on Tuesday, April 8th. The primary election will feature 9 candidates running for 3 seats on the Lincoln City Council, 8 candidates running for 4 seats on the LPS Board of Education, and 2 candidates running for 1 seat at the Lincoln Airport Authority. There is also the important question to continue Lincoln on the Move quarter-cent sales tax to fund street improvements. You can find candidate responses to business-focused questions for City Council, Board of Education, and Airport Authority, all on our advocacy page at lcoc.com. And after voting in the primary, don't forget the general election is just less than 1 month later on Tuesday, May 6th. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.
Have you thought about pre-planning your funeral? I'm Logan Schneider, a funeral director at Roper & Sons Funeral Home. There are many benefits to pre-planning a funeral. Pre-planning allows you to articulate your end-of-life wishes, relieves your family and friends from making difficult decisions during an emotional time, and eases the financial burden. You can trust Roper & Sons professionals to answer your questions and help you create the meaningful service that you want. Roper & Sons, we're here to help you tell your story.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. It's the perfect time to start planning for outdoor projects. Loctite Landscape Construction Adhesive works great for securing blocks, bricks, and stone. It's a true all-weather application that's water-resistant. Save big on Loctite adhesives when you shop at Menards. Plus, check out the weekly flyer on Menards.com for plenty more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
When you become a volunteer advocate with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, you join a grassroots grassroots network of over 45,000 people speaking out for suicide prevention and mental health. There are lots of ways to get involved with issues in our own community by partnering with the Nebraska chapter. Learn more about the public policy priorities AFSP's volunteer advocates are championing at all levels of government to prevent suicide. Visit afsp.org/advocacy today and join.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
A forecast coming up here on the Average Joe Sports Show. Big thanks to Bill Doleman for joining us courtside in front of the Supernovas contest tonight. Jacob Padilla with that incredible artwork behind him. I love the old Tom Turkey. He is rocking Jacob with us here, and his all streaming glory. Can find us and watch this on the Average Joe Sports Show YouTube or Twitter, AJ Sports Radio. Jacob, how we doing? A little Sweet 16 action tonight and Portal Madness. What do you know?
Yeah, it's been nice. Don't really have anything going on this weekend besides just kind of chilling and watching the basketball games after a month straight of kind of nonstop running all over the place. I got a nice little break here before we get into coaching season that really ramps up, and we'll take up some of the weekends and things like that. So, yep, I looking forward to watching the games tonight.
Beer and hot dogs for Jacob all weekend long.
That's
an inside joke, Jacob. We crushed some hot dogs and beers last night for opening day. That's not really your style. You don't strike me as a hot dog man.
No, 0 for 2. I pretty much don't eat hot dogs unless they're free.
That's well crafted. Jacob, you've got a couple of freshmen for Nebraska basketball that I'm interested. Fred and company, they're going to be in Vegas for the Crown, and it is what it is. Troy Dannen talked last night on the network. Very, appropriate with what he was talking about. Just what do you need? How can I help? That mentality, and we've talked a lot about financial investment. What's your feel with Frager and Janowski? They've spent time redshirting. Whenever I would watch Janowski warm up or just shoot after a basketball game, he'd just be drilling threes. And I know Frager a little bit just from junior going to school with him and kind of covering the high school scene a little bit. So these are two kids that have been fed and watered for a year, and now they'll have a chance to contribute. That's starting point. You got Sammy that's back. You have Rink that's back. And then you're shopping here. So as we talk outlook, what do you think of these redshirt freshmen and their ability to contribute?
Yeah, I think moving forward, high school recruiting will still continue to be important, especially because if you got guys that come up through your program, one, there's probably a little bit more loyalty just baked in there just because of the time spent together and that sort of thing versus the portal where it's like quick connection. Like, is this going to work? All right, and let's do it. You've got guys that, again, if they're on board with the redshirt plan, like these guys were, you've got a chance to really work on them, hone in on the things that you need to get them ready to contribute. And then the more of those guys you hit on, the less you have to do in the portal, and the lower your hit rate has to be. Whereas I think we saw with Nebraska last couple of years here, they had some really big hits in the portal, but they didn't get enough of them. Too many of those guys ended up just not being what the team needed, and they weren't able to fill out a full competitive roster that could help them get to the tournament. So if you've got guys like a Frager that after a year of development can get out there and be an important piece for you, even if he's not like a big time impact player, he's the guy that can go out there and eat up some minutes and contribute even a little bit. And you've got a direct plan for, as he continues to grow and get older and develop a larger role as his game expands, then you've got something you can build around. And now you can go out and, all right, we need to You just need to hit 1 to 2 key guys in the portal because you've got some role players. You've got some guys already in the program that have been around. It's guys that you don't need to have start over with. Whereas if you bring in an entirely new team out of the portal every year, now you're starting from scratch every single year, and it's important to have those guys that have been there and understand it to even help the newcomers to get through it. So I think those guys can be a big piece of the program moving forward if they took the full advantage of this year, if the staff was able to develop them to take advantage of their strengths coming in. Frager, freak athlete, can jump out of the gym. There was shooting potential there. It was a little bit inconsistent throughout his high school. He was kind of streaky at times, but he also lower volume, had a really, I think a sophomore year, shot the ball really well. So if they were able to kind of iron out that jumper and add some strength to his frame during this redshirt year, he's got a chance that can go out there and give you kind of the athleticism, the kind of slashing and 3 type of player that would be a really nice role player to go around or to fit into Hoiberg's system. And then Janowski is a guy, we'll see kind of how he fits and how his game develops at the kind of the Big Ten level. He can absolutely, everything I've heard, can shoot the heck out of the ball, and he works at it. So he is an absolute gym rat working on that shot. Like you said, every time you see him getting shots up there, he's a guy that went out a lot of workouts after games because obviously he didn't get a play this season. So that's just kind of the kid he is. So he can go out there, be smart, knock down shots. Again, that's not a guy that you don't need to come out and score 12 points a game as a redshirt freshman, but can he go out there and be a useful piece for you that fits in the system, that is smart, that makes the right plays, that'll go out there and hustle and knock down shots. Again, these 2 guys can be really good role players within Fred's system if they can go out now and get the pieces they need in the portal to kind of be the lead guys.
Jacob, with guys like Janowski and Frager in mind, do you think it's harder for your teams like Nebraska to go and recruit those guys straight out of high school with the reality of what the portal is nowadays? Because you can bemoan the fact that mid-majors have become developmental programs for your Power 4 schools, but you can also look at it as, if you're a high school guy, would you rather go develop for 2-3 years, sit on the bench, redshirt at a place like Nebraska or name your Power 4 school? Or would you rather go off to a place like South Dakota State and vie for early playing time, get your development on the court, and then transfer up to a Power 4 program? Is that a reality you're kind of seeing right now in college basketball?
I think there's definitely part of that. And that's something kind of the better mid-major level programs are embracing. All right, we'll get you to the next level. You come here and help us win games, develop your game. We'll help you get you to the next step there. So I think that is an avenue out there. On the other hand, there's going to be more money at the high major level, depending on who the player is and how that works out. So that's kind of with the revenue split and everything coming with that. That's something that the athletes will have to consider. There are all kinds of, I think the landscape is continuing to shift, and we don't know exactly what everything's going to look like. Now, this next year at least, you've got all the Division II, JUCO, all these guys that played outside the Division I level this year that maybe have an extra year available to them. And now, so that's added talent pool that that coaches will be able to sift through. Are there guys that were good D2 players that can help a D1 program for their extra year? I don't know. I think it's hard to tell exactly how that all plays out. I think the best staffs will be able to recruit to whatever they have, and they'll have strong pitches, and they'll be able to identify the guys that really connect with what they're selling. So I think we'll see basically a little bit of everything. I think we'll see some guys that just want to go at a big power program. A lot of these kids go in thinking like they're going to play. Like we're seeing at UConn. They've got 2 top 75 freshmen that played minor roles for the team this year are in the portal now. And that's a team that brought a lot back, went to the transfer portal, trying to maintain their championship caliber, and maybe didn't have as much time, even for talented guys that are really young. And now those guys, some of those guys, maybe they stick around and continue to develop and become the next guy. those guys chose not to. Ahmad Noel and I forgot the other one, but they had 2 guys enter the portal recently. So I think you just it's more important than ever before for coaches to be able to identify talent, to connect with players, because there are so many options out there that nothing like you're gonna have to be able to really distinguish yourself from everything else. So we'll see. I think the with Frager, the kind of close to home ties there with him reclassifying, going to school early, I think all that kind of factors into being able to land a guy like that, that other power programs were competing for. So we'll see. I don't know if we've got any of those guys like that in the holster coming up in the next couple of classes here. But yeah, Nebraska will have to continue to figure out what works for them moving forward as the landscape continues to shift.
Jacob Padilla is with us here, Average Joe Sports Show. Find Jacob's work heard at sports at Jacob Padilla _ on Twitter. Jacob, couple minutes. What's your gut tell you? Is there any past connections that Markel Sutton may have? We've got O'Sauter with a laundry list. I think the field of 64 is currently all made contact here with Markel Sutton.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be shocked. The Oklahoma schools reached out, moving back closer to home.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like it would make some sense for this extra year. Obviously, Nebraska was one that reached out recently, but now you've got, like you said, programs from all over the country that are reaching out. We'll see how many of this initial contacts goes further beyond that. I mean, every time the kid puts out a list, there are 20 teams on it, and 20 teams aren't pushing hard to land him. The contact is just kind of the initial feeling out process to see. Mm-hmm. So we'll see once he kind of sifts through that list and which of those programs kind of jump off the page to him and go a little bit further in that. But he's a guy. I mean, we're seeing Summit League every year. We talk about developing players to make the leap. I think the Summit League has meant as much as any league in the country has had their all conference teams rated every year. Like the last couple of years, everybody's been gone off that list for the most part. The first, second team, they either graduate or they transfer up. And Sutton is kind of the latest player of the year in that league. I'm 6'9", athletic. If he could shoot a little bit better, then maybe we're talking even higher. The kind of the really best programs on that list pushing a little bit harder. I think that's kind of the one question with him translating is he isn't really much of a stretch guy, and he is, and obviously the athleticism, the size gets bigger as he transfer up. So kind of what is his role at the high major level? But he certainly earned the chance to play for some good programs next year, depending on how he sorts it out.
Jacob, enjoy your weekend. Appreciate the intel, bud.
Yep, no problem, guys. Thanks.
There he is, Jacob Padilla.
Coverage can be heard right here on KFOR, FM 101.5, 1240 AM, and KFORnow.com.
Hey, it's Schmidt here to tell you about my secret health weapon, Lincoln Weight Loss. The Lincoln Weight Loss program is just what I needed to kick myself into gear and get on a healthier path. I've been on that path for more than a year now, thanks to the support from Lincoln Weight Loss. I encourage you to check out Lincoln Weight Loss and get your free body composition analysis. They'll show you how to totally reset your metabolism, and from there, you will experience quick results, shedding stubborn, unwanted extra weight. Then stick with it. Follow the Lincoln Weight Loss program guidelines and eat well most of the time to enjoy awesome energy and a much healthier you. With Lincoln Weight Loss, there's no injections, no calorie counting, no prepackaged meals, just framework you can follow. Now's the time. Check out Lincoln Weight Loss and be ready to enjoy spring and summer as a lighter, more energetic you. Schedule your free consultation today at LincolnWeightLoss.com or call 402-520-8170.
Whether you're a young bachelor with a dog, a couple just starting to grow your family,
or empty nesters looking to downsize. Liberty First Credit Union has a full suite of mortgage options with low to no money down to ensure you get that home you've been dreaming of. Since Liberty First is not-for-profit and member-owned, mortgage advisors are on your side and work hard to provide you the best loan. For current rates, options, or to complete a mortgage application, access libertyfirstcu.com. Equal housing opportunity.
KFOR and Legacy Retirement Communities are now taking nominations for the Jerry Joyce Living Legacy Award to honor compassionate, caring, unsung heroes who have never received recognition. The selected individuals will receive up to $2,500 to donate to the nonprofits of their choice. Nominations should be 500 words or less and be submitted at kfornow.com. You may also send a carol at KFOR through email or mail by April 14th. This award is given annually in memory of Jerry Joyce, Legacy's founder.
Warmer weather means it's time to enjoy that fresh spring air. No better way to do it than with a brand new pair of athletic shoes from Brown Shoe Fit. Enjoy $15 off any regular price athletic shoe through the end of March. Top brands include New Balance, Hoka, Brooks, and On Cloud, all $15 off now through March 31st. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. This sale won't last forever, so run, jog, or walk your way down to Brown Shoe Fit Lincoln, locally owned at 66 and Q.
Back at it Monday on KFOR, Schmidt, Carol, and Jeff.
Signal Gate doesn't seem to be going away. J.D. Vance's trek to Greenland, the weekend Tesla protest, and the projected toilet paper shortage.
We'll talk at 6 on KFOR.
KFOR.
Toilet paper shortage.
We'll talk at 6 on KFOR.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Winding down the Friday edition of the Average Joe Sports Show, YouTube, where you can watch. Just search, like, subscribe to the Average Joe Sports Show, Twitter, as well AJ Sports Radio. Brent says it's vodka night. No, it's just bottled water, I promise. At 6:01, it might be vodka, but right now it's just water. Both of you yahoos are yawning. I'm going to have to slap both of you, but I could reach, but
I'm out here working, Schmitty. I'm out here working.
As you yawn away.
Trying to
we have Claus. We have made connection with Clausborne.
He was hard to track down. I had to go to the ends of the earth, but we did find it.
Claus, can you say definitively that you are not Bill Doleman?
I am pretty certain I am not Bill Doleman just by looking at my bank account.
Wow. Okay, we're going to go that route.
Guy's getting residuals on every broadcast of every archery tournament since the Sydney Olympics, so I'm not doing half as well.
And think about all the residual work for all the Husker Vision VHS, 5 straight Big 8s. I mean, all that stuff for some of us were stocking stuffers. You had an incredible writer in Bill Doleman.
He's been all over everything since at least, probably 1941. I believe he was at the Rose Bowl. So the guy's got some cash.
Claus, we'll get into some predictions here for the Friday forecast. The other sweetness with the Sweet 16, some potential SEC on SEC crime, and, of course, Big Ten versus the SEC. We will start off with Michigan State. Sparty is favored over Ole Miss, minus 3.5. Totals 144. Get a mouthpiece and helmet, it's going to be physical. I'm going to have to, so I don't have to sleep on this couch for a myriad of reasons. I'm going to pick Michigan State tonight in a bit of a slugfest, 67-61, the win and cover for Sparty. Elijah.
I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place here. Got a lot of friends that went to Ole Miss. Go Rebs. I am fully on that bandwagon for the most part. That being said, I have Michigan State in my Final Four in the bracket. The bracket's not looking good for me. I think a Michigan State win would do me some wonders. Heart versus head here. I guess heart versus heart even. Give me Michigan State to win this one. Somewhat close, 80-76.
Okay. Justice, where are you at?
A little high scoring there. Listen, it's Izzo, it's March, it's a no-brainer. I love Sparty here. 67-62. Sparty advances to take on Auburn or Michigan.
That is a cover, says Justice. Claus, where are you going here? Michigan State or the Rebels of Ole Miss?
Well, talking about William and how he used to be on all the VHS tapes in the 90s has me feeling pretty nostalgic. Remember how we used to have Sears back in the 90s? You could go to Sears, and they obviously went bankrupt here a few years ago. But I think if they wanted to make a comeback, the perfect place for them to make a comeback would be in Oxford, Mississippi, considering the Ole Miss athletic department only hires complete tools.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
So I'm going to take Michigan State in this one, 71, and Ole Miss 69.
All right. Complete tools. I love it. Rocket Top in Kentucky. There is going to be a lot of bourbon spilled tonight. Rick Barnes and company, -4.5. I just think Tennessee's too talented, too good. Kentucky's solid. They shoot well. But they're just not in that tier. In the top tier of the SEC was elite this year. Give me Tennessee by 10, and I think you're going to get some points. 87-77. Rocky Top wins it. Elijah?
Yeah, tough to beat a team twice, tough to beat a team 3 times. It's kind of how I'm feeling with this one. Give me the Tennessee Volunteers. I'm picking my bracket. Let's go 70-65.
Okay. What do you say, Justice?
For the sake of my bracket, I'm going to have to go against both of you. I had Tennessee getting bounced by UCLA. That did not come to fruition. Thanks a lot, Mick Cronin. But listen, I love the Cats in this one. They got way too much offense to overpower that defense. I like Kentucky 86-78 over the Vols.
Okay. Claus, where you going here? The old Bluegrass or Rocky Top?
Well, speaking of Sears, here's a couple of fan bases that probably spent a lot of time there getting themselves some button-fly jeans, so that the sheep wouldn't be spooked by the zipper. But I'm looking at this old Bob Devaney decanter full of Jim Beam, which is made in Kentucky, so I'm going to go with Bob on this one. Wildcats 71, the Volunteers 69.
Okay. Auburn and Michigan.
Not the sheep. It's the sheep.
Spooked.
I'm trying to be the professional in the room here.
Stop acting like an adult. You had 10 beers and 80 hot dogs last night. I want to hear it. -8.5. -8.5. War Eagle. I hope Auburn drills Michigan. Give me War Eagle 74. Give me Michigan 60. Kind of a blowout tonight. I like Auburn. Elijah?
Yeah, way too much Auburn here for the Michigan Wolverines. I'm worried about their ability to handle the basketball, be clean with it. I'm worried about their guard. Schmidt still losing it in the background. Give me Auburn 86, Michigan 70.
Justice?
I think this one's pretty cut and dry. I mean, Michigan will hand out the pill more than a dirty pharmacist. So, I mean, you got to watch out for the turnovers tonight for the Wolverines. I love Auburn all the way in this one, 90-75, War Eagle.
Claus, where you at here, Auburn or Michigan?
Well, interestingly enough, I ran into Bruce Pearl not too long ago at a benefit for a farm bureau or something like that. And I walk in and he's wearing a suit, and then he's standing next to this ginormous portly donkey who's wearing an Auburn hat and T-shirt. And I'm staring at this donkey, and Bruce Pearl comes over and trying to get my attention, and I keep staring at the donkey, and finally I break the gaze and I turn to him and I say, "My goodness, I'm sorry. It's usually the biggest, fattest jackass in the room that's wearing the Auburn gear." So
I like that.
I'm going to go against the grain and pick Michigan in this one, 71 and Auburn 69.
Claus, hang tight. We'll get Purdue and Houston, okay?
Okay.
There he is. More with Claus and the forecast on the way.
ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Stop ignoring that check engine light or driving around knowing your vehicle is past due for an oil change. 6-to-6 Auto Service at 2405 P Street wants to help you get the auto services your vehicle needs now by offering a $50 discount on your next service. Schedule your appointment online today at 6to6autoservice.com. Get peace of mind and a $50 discount from your local professional team at 6-to-6 Auto Service. Ask about your discount now for a limited time at 6-to-6 Auto Service.
I'm in the car next to you on the highway. I sit in front of you on the bus. I'm one out of every 6 Americans, and I'm struggling with hunger. This isn't an uncontrollable epidemic. There's enough food in this country to feed every hungry person. Please, visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for those around you, quietly struggling with hunger.
Some people say he doesn't believe in extra points and that he's no longer allowed to enter Canada. All we know is he's imaginary and he wears red. It's the Friday forecast with Clausborne on the Average Joe Sports Show.
One final time here on the Average Joe Sports Show, the beer and hot dog edition. As we'll be back tomorrow morning on YouTube. Like and subscribe the Average Joe Sports Show YouTube channel, 7:45-ish for the weekend edition, 10:30 Sunday live. Find us. Mark Manning going to join us in the stream. Clausborne is going to wrap up the Friday forecast as we pick the Sweet 16. And Claus not a fan of Kentucky or Tennessee. Purdue is in action. Houston, the top seed. That's my championship team. And I think Kelvin, not Kevin, Kelvin's going to hand out an AK. I think Houston will be all over Purdue. I think Purdue could have a tough shooting night, burn this tape if they reenact Bama's evening. But too much defense, too much physicality for Houston. They get the cover, they get the win, they keep it lower scoring. 71 to 61. I think they really do clamp down on Purdue. I'm getting a side eye from Justice, but first, Elijah, what do you feel?
I feel the same way. Way too much athleticism. Houston's going to really make that pick and roll game with Braden Smith and Kaufman run tough. Give me 70 to 55. Houston wins this one.
Do you think it is going to be the old low scoring? Justice?
Yeah, I think, I got Houston as my champion, so I can't pick against old Kelvin, not Kevin Sampson. I think this is Houston by KO. Give me the Cougs 70 to 50.
All right, so it is going to be low scoring. Justice will not be headed to the casino for the over-under number. Claus, as we wind it down, bud, where you at? The Cougars or the Boilermakers?
Well, fellas, here's an interesting little statistic, or I guess factoid. There are 6 golf courses in West Lafayette, Indiana, and of those 6, only one of them has 18 holes. And you're thinking, well, okay, the other 5 must have 9, but actually they only have 14. And the reason is because everyone at Purdue only rarely makes it to the Final Four. Give me Houston 71 and Purdue 69.
Okay. Tight ball game. Well played, Claus. Claus, you have yourself a weekend. You need bail money. You just text us, okay?
Well, I saw a pretty good bail bondsman advertised on the back of a Little League jersey, so I'll probably be okay.
I like it. Claus, we appreciate you, bud. Thank you much.
Okay.
There he is. He's imaginary. He wears red. Clausborne with the Friday forecast here on the Average Joe Sports Show. Appreciate his insight, his input, and yes, his wit.
I was disappointed in you, Schmidt, after Clausborne picks all his games, the final score of 69 somewhere in there to go and say tight ball game. I was trying to be the professional for a little bit. That about broke me.
And brother, I wasn't even going that route when I said it. It just happened.
You're just naturally sophomoric, huh?
No, well, probably, but I just
me too.
All right, tomorrow morning I don't know that we'll be better, but we'll be there. 7:45-ish for the weekend edition. Average Joe Sports Show. Take care. Talk tomorrow.